There's something small. Felt like a bluegill strike to me. Yep. Another decent one.
Oh.
What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to Cross Country Bank Angler. Today it's kind of a not super hot, kind of cloudy summer day. We got some sun now, but it's mostly cloudy. And I'm out here exploring a new lake today, or we're gonna try to. Place I've never fished before. And that's it. We're just gonna try to see if we can find any fish out here. You know, is there, a good bass population here? Is it more of a panfish lake? Is it more of a, I don't know. We're just gonna see what kind of fishery this place is. I've just got one rod and reel combo with me. One of my BFS setups. So really, there's not much else to it. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm using a BFS combo today. Using this old travel rod. I haven't fished with it in a while, but this is one of the first BFS rods that I tried, and it's a budget rod, about 30 bucks. Not anything fancy, but it's a telescopic rod. So I opted to go with that today. You know, getting here, it's kind of a remote area. So kind of just being able to put this thing in my bag while I was walking here was kind of useful. It's a 6-foot light power, I would say a fast action rod. And I've got that paired up with the Doviello Acura Hick 50 Pro. This is a reel I got recently that I've been trying out. And I like the reel a lot so far. So we're going with like a multi-species approach to start off with. Here guys, I've got a little spinnerbait here. This is like a little micro spinnerbait. I got this at a fishing show back in the spring. Kind of has like a minnow profile, small little blade on it, little silvery hackle in the back. Just something to cover a little bit of water. It's a pretty big lake, so there's almost no way I'm going to be able to fish the whole place today. But just something we can cast and reel. Should be a good option to just kind of probe the lake for activity. It seems pretty quiet so far. I've also got a lot of lily pads on the edges here, some pond lilies and water shield kind of mixed in. Here's something. Second cast. All right. First fish of the day on the second cast is a bluegill, guys. He really ate it too, but we got it out. Not super healthy looking. His eyes are kind of big. Look at this mouth. He's got some kind of tumor on his mouth. I'm not even gonna get a picture of this one. Kind of a raggedy fish, but it's a start. It's not bad, guys. Second cast. So this reel here comes with 2 spools. So I have the shallow BFS spool tied on now, but there's also just like a medium capacity spool that I brought along too with some heavier line. You know, if you want to throw some bigger lures with a little more confidence. You know, if it seems like we're able to find like some bigger fish. There's a fish. Oh yeah, that's a bass. It's not huge, but it's something. All right. Fish number 2. There he is, guys. A dark green bass, maybe 10 inches. Fairly thin, fairly streamlined. All right, so this place is producing some fish. Nothing too surprising or impressive, but we're getting some bites on the little mini spinnerbait. I figured that thing would work fairly well. It's just nice and small presentation, something compact. You know, a high percentage lure. Not going to get snagged too easily. There's a lot of wood out here. Here's a fish. All right, another species. It's chain pickerel, guys. Not big, but it is a pickerel. It is a different species. Let's get a look at him there. Got a 10-inch chain pickerel. Nailed the spinner. Should be able to get it out without any issue. They're hard to hold on to. There he is one more time, guys. Third species of the day on that little spinnerbait. Thank you, buddy. All right, third catch, third species. All right, guys, here's our next spot. We're kind of standing on the end of a point here. I think this is actually an old beaver lodge that I'm standing on that I think has been abandoned. But I'm kind of looking for more open water, deeper water. See if that holds more fish. The cool wind that we've got right now, you think a spinner would be pretty good. There's something. Dinky bass. Just barely hooked. At least he's got a full belly. Maybe a 5-inch fish. Look at that shape. Future 10-pounder. There's a bump right there, but I don't know. I think we're gonna have to make a change here. Spinnerbait has caught some fish, but it's not getting that much response, and it's all been. There's something. Another fairly dinky bass. 8 or 9 inches. Fourth fish. We'll make a few more casts since we got another bite. There's another one. Might be slightly better. Oh, okay. Here we go. Don't flip off, buddy. Oh yeah. Now we're talking, guys. No wonder he fought a little bit better. That's a solid bluegill right there. Dark fish. Maybe 8 inches. We'll get a picture of him for sure. That's a good fish. That's probably the best one of the day. All right, thank you, buddy. It's a solid bluegill right there, guys. Feisty too. All right, well, I was about to switch, but maybe not just yet. We do have a chance of a storm kind of blowing in today, so maybe that'll explain the breeze that we're getting. That feels nice and cool, and it could be turning these fish on a little bit. We got the wind we're casting into the wind, which can be tricky with a bait caster sometimes, but this Hick 50 Pro is handling it like a champ the way I've got it tuned right now. We're getting pretty long cast too. Almost had an overrun right there, but not quite. There's something small. Felt like a bluegill strike to me. Yep. Another decent one. Here we go, guys. Dark fish. The fish in this lake are dark. Thing is, the water's got a little bit of that tannin color to it, but not a whole lot. Fairly clear, so it kind of makes sense why we're getting some kind of darker colored fish in here. I mean, there's really no red even, or orange even on this guy. It's just dark green and purple. Let's let him go. All right, people, so the next thing that I swapped to here is just going to be a little jig in plastic here. I've got a 1/8 ounce jig head. This is a Roadrunner head that I took the blade off. I just didn't like the action of these actually with the blade. They kept bumping into the plastic and not really spinning, so I just took them off. And we've got a Mr. Crappie shad pole in that tuxedo black chartreuse color on there. Just a little 2-inch plastic with a little ball tail. I'm going to be using this with kind of like a strolling technique of kind of like a trend for bass, like pro bass fishermen to use that with electronics, but you can really fish it anywhere. You just want something two-toned, and basically you're just twitching as you retrieve the lure. First cast. What are you? No, something broke me off right there. Is it that big of a fish, or did I just get caught in weeds? Alright guys, if that happens again where we lose a fish in the weeds and get broken off, we're going to have to swap to the other spool that has heavier line. This thing does run the risk of getting snagged as well because it's heavier and it's got an open hook, so compared to the spinner, potentially a snaggier lure. Here's a fish. All right, nice bluegill. Bluegill here are pretty aggressive. Look how he ate that. Perfect hook set through the top of the mouth. Just what you want to see. Nice fish. Good bluegill in here. Seems like a lake where the bluegill are able to grow up to a good size, and there aren't, the bass are kind of small and stunted. There are a couple of lakes like that around here, and it seems like this is going to be another one of those. So maybe we'll just focus more on the bluegill going forward here. Thank you, buddy. Here's a fish. Here's a bass. Hold on, buddy. All right. It might be the biggest of the day, but he's still around 10 inches. Look how big his eyes is, or his eyes are. I think these fish are a little bit stunted. For sure, guys. And skinny. Here's a fish, guys. Oh yeah, there's a better fish. That's a better bass. Okay, okay. Okay, there's like a solid 12 or 13 incher. That's the biggest fish of the day. Happy to catch one like that. Thank you, buddy. Nice, nice, guys. All right, people. Been out here for a few hours now. Starting to get tired. Maybe got one more hour left in me. I just tied on a jig spinner to round things off. Kind of a combination of some of the baits we used earlier, right? That same plastic and jig head. And we got a spinner blade, but it's just a slightly bigger blade and overall profile compared to that little spinner bait we were using. There's a fish. Oh, it's a bass. Actually looks like a decent one. Oh yeah. There we go. That's a better one. He's skinny, like most of the ones in here, but that's probably the longest fish of the day. 14, probably. 14 incher. All right, nice. The old trusty Beetle Spin. And the old trusty shad pole, guys. Good combination. Caught a ton of fish with this. Pairing those up, that little jig spinner. Oh, nice jump. Nice jump, pal. About a 10 incher. Okay. Okay. This might be our last fish of the day. Let's let him go. Here's a fish, guys. Get away from that. It's a decent fish, I think. Oh yeah. Another solid gill. Hold on, buddy. Ow! Whew! Ouch. Got me good there. He finned the crap out of me there. Yes, he did. Ow. Bleeding a little bit. Darn fish. Should take you home and gobble you up for that. Come on. Don't play dead on me. There you go. Yeah, he nicked me a little bit. Well, you know what? I stabbed him, he stabbed me. I think it's fair. Every now and then the fish has to get a little bit of a get back, you know? A little bit of vengeance. A good hit right there. A nice hit. This guy knocks slack in the line, guys. Alright, people. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Went out here and explored this lake, this new lake, for a few hours today. And honestly, it wasn't like an amazing lake, but it certainly wasn't bad. We had a pretty good day. Just out here throwing some small lures around. There was never a point, I brought some bigger lures with me, but there was never a point where I was really tempted to throw them, because it's really doesn't seem like a big fish lake. We caught mostly bass and bluegill and one chain pickerel. Nothing over 14 inches. That was probably the biggest bass, and they were skinny. So I think the population of fish in here is a little bit on the stunted side, maybe a little high density largemouth bass population, so they're not getting that big in here. Good bluegill population in here, though, I will say that. There's some nice gills in here, which is something that I like to see. I think that's always nice to kind of know a couple of lakes that have good bluegill swimming around in them. So we threw a few different lures, and really the pattern today was just those smaller spinnerbaits today. We tried out that new kind of gold one with a little gold blade on it. Very compact. I'll leave a link to that one in the description. I can't think of the name of it right now. But that's a cool little lure, and it did pretty well out here. We caught some bass and panfish and the chain pickerel on that. And we also just threw a plain jig, that shad pole, caught a couple on that. And then we just kind of met in the middle between those two lures, right? And went with the jig spinner with the shad pole as a trailer, and that did well too. So yeah, those little spinner baits, guys, it's one of my favorite bait finesse lures. It's a great option. Just any kind of small spinner bait like that. I've done some videos on those jig spinners and beetle spins before, but really any kind of miniature spinner bait is a good option to have on hand. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this content, and if you like what you see today, then you should definitely subscribe to the channel. We've got weekly fishing videos coming at you at Cross Country Bank Angler, BFS fishing, ultralight, bass fishing, topwaters. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Peace.